Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're going to talk about the System-8 Plugout synthesizer for Roland. I bought it for myself a couple of weeks ago. I was so happy to see that Roland came out with a new Plugout synth. Now, what does a Plugout synth is? It's actually a software synthesizer that runs into your computer, Windows, Mac, but also the same algorithm can be exported and loaded into a Plugout compatible synthesizers. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a System-8, System-1, and System-1M. That's about it. System-8 is 8-voice polyphony. So some of the Plugouts are monophonic. Some of them are polyphonic. So the ones that are polyphonic will not work on System-1 and System-1M, but System-8 will actually support them. You have like 6, if I'm not mistaken, 6 Plugouts right now. You have the Jupiter 8, the Juno-60, the GX3P that came with the System-8. Also, you can have the other ones you could buy or rent in a way. Now it's in Roland Cloud. It's the new way to get them. So you have the SH2, the SH101, the ProMars, the System-100, and the Juno-60, which just released like last week. So let's actually look into how you get the Juno-60, if you want, into your System-8. Or if you don't have a System-8, you can still use the same synthesis, the same sound you would get into this, into your favorite DAW. So you would have to go into Roland Cloud. Now, a lot of people don't understand what Roland Cloud is. Roland Cloud is a place where you open an account. It's free to open your account. The Roland Cloud is a manager to manage licenses from Roland. So that's where you can actually buy stuff. That's where you can rent stuff if you want. You can get the ultimate package, means for a amount for the year, you're going to get all the plugins from Roland, all the virtual synthesizers they have. Or if you don't, you just can rent. There's a smaller package if you want. I mean, if you want more information, I'll put a link to a description I made for Roland, and you can actually get the understanding of how the Roland Cloud Manager works. But this is really interesting. It's not, the Roland Cloud Manager is free, it's the manager, that's what it is. It manages the stuff you buy. So if you want to buy the Plugouts, you can just pick one and say buy, or you can say I want to rent the whole package for like a year. And the logic behind renting is that every time they release something else, you get them. So it's a cool thing. I mean, it all depends how you want to work. If you don't want to rent it, buy it, and then you can just, when you have Roland Cloud installed, you actually can download all your plugins that are available to you. Now, one thing that is important, to be able to run the latest Juno-60 inside the System-8, you will need to upgrade the firmware. Firmware, there's 2 ways to do it. You go on Roland website, you go into the the section you want to download the firmware. There's a text about it. There's 2 ways. Either you put it on an SD card, you put it at the back, load it in. I would say before you do this, just to be sure, back up your internal memory. There's a factory restore, factory backup in the utility menu inside the machine. Do that on the SD card before, because if anything may get messed up, you will not lose your patches if you did anything, or patterns if you did anything. So do that first. So, and then you'll be able to upgrade the System-8 to the, I think it's, what's the value here? Menu version 1.3.1. That will be the latest version that now accept to receive the Juno-60. So if you're going to Roland Cloud, Roland Cloud Manager, you're going to have softwares you can download of material. There's a hardware design, but the hardware here is not the Juno. It's not the System-8. It's mostly for the Zencore compatible hardware. But if you go in library, you've got all the stuff that you want, and then there's let's say Juno-60. Here it is. It's in the legendary. So the one I want to look for, if you're an owner of a System-8, you're going to go legendary. And not all of them have the Plugout. If you look, let's say you see Jupiter 8. Well, this one, Jupiter 8, if you look at the picture, come on picture, there is a Plugout here button. If you go to this one, you should also see a plug out button. Here you go, plug out. But if you look at this one, none. Which is kind of sad because the TB303 exists as a boutique, so we should be able to have it here. So I'm going to ask, and please, if you're with me on this, ask Roland, please, TB303 as a plug out. Well, we have a sequencer, and we have the 18 dB filter right into there. So it shouldn't be too hard to, do that little part here. Okay, guys? Then you've got the JB1080, but this is not a plug out. If you look at it, there's no plug out button anywhere on it. It just is a legendary. But if you go to Pro Mars, yes, that one is a plug out. If you look at the SH101, yes, that is a plug out. SH here, you see the plug out button here. And they tell you, when you read about it, they tell you it's a plug-in, and there's also a plug out on it. And you've got the System 100, Juno-106, Juno-60. So all of these are legendary. Some of them are plug out, some of them are not. So keep that in mind. The others are plugins. You can actually run in your computer. Like this one, the 606, Juno-606 is a plug-in for your computer, but not for this. Okay, and by the way, I'll do another video because the 606, 808, 909, they actually interconnect with the TR-8S in a way that you can make a pattern there and save it there, or make a pattern there and save it there. So there's this interaction that also a few people know about, which is pretty cool. Okay, so you have this, get lifetime key if you want to buy it. If you don't want to buy it, you can, in my case, I've got the ultimate. You download it, it's in the library section. There's install here, so you would have a install button, you install it. Then it will appear in your favorite DAW. I'm going to open Zenbeats right now. Actually, I've got the Juno-60 here. I'm going to take the latest one, click on it. It's there. You can actually, if you find that this is, if you wanted this is too small, you want it, bigger, you can go in the option, the zoom, you can zoom. You can zoom smaller and bigger. Option, zoom. Let's say you want it big. Okay, so you can actually change it, put it the size you want. So this is something that I find useful because when you switch between screens, sometimes it looks tiny on a big screen, so you can actually do this. So this is the layout of the synthesizer, and there's the plug out section here. Now to connect it correctly, to be able to plug out this, there's two things you can do. You actually can plug out, means you can send the synthesizer inside the memory of the System-8. And the other thing is you can actually control the Juno-60 from the knob here. Right now, if I move it, it doesn't do anything on this one. So first thing you need to do is to connect the two together. In my case, I'm going to go into Option, and I've got the System-8 layout right now. So it means that if I switch to plug out, that's the layout I have. I have already this Juno-60 here. So that's why I've got the LFO, like you have on screen, LFO section, oscillator, like I have on screen. And if I change this, now it doesn't change, but let's do this. This one is not active, like you have on screen. Now, if you want to see it the way the Juno-60 was made, this is the normal layout of the Juno-60. So if you used one, and then you have a little switch between, there's two types of high pass, 60 or 106. So depending on the sound you want. So that's a cool thing you have about this, is you have more control than the original have. And stuff like arpeggiator can now be synced to tempo, which was not the case in the original one, because it was before MIDI even. So this is a cool thing. You've got the chorus and you've got a special chorus, and you can actually turn the two together on, which is kind of a hidden feature. It has a different sound. You'll try it out, you'll see. And we've got more control here about other type of reverb and delay, which were not in the original one. You only add the chorus, basically. So let's put the chorus off for now, so we can actually play these. So the way it's connected here, it's kind of a unique way. I've got my USB connected into the MX1. So the MX1, it's in the USB input number 1. So that's why on my screen I've got MIDI control input MX1, which is the machine itself, MX1 USB 1 control. So it's going to send MIDI information using the USB output of the MX1 into this, because this is not connected straight to the computer. So it doesn't see this. It sees the MX1, and I'm telling the software is telling the MX1 to send that MIDI information to the USB output number 1, which controls the System 8. That's the logic. So when this is done, because I've got the other option, which is not the control, but the USB. So USB, will this work? I'll see. If I go plug out, no communication failed. So I was wrong. So I'm going to go back to settings, say, well, I'm going to use the controller, like I said, controller, close this, I'm going to go plug out. And then it tells me, oh, right now you have, now it sees it. I've got Jupiter 8 in the first one. I've got Juno 106 in the second one, and Juno-60 in the third one. If I say Juno-60, well, it's going to, ready to plug out. It's going to erase what I already have in here. So right now it's going to be replacing the same thing. But if I had anything recorded, it'll be erased because it's going to send the plug out and the patches went to 64. So it's sending. This one is receiving. Still receiving. This one's finished sending. We're going to play writing. Okay, so. Condition. That's a cool one. Condition is, do you want it to feel like it's an old synthesizer? Because one thing you always get from people is they put their Juno-60 right beside this and they play it and they go, or beside any type of new model, and they say, well, if I play the two, they don't sound exactly the same. Of course they don't. Of course. If you have a Juno-60 today, it's like 40 years old. And you have this, it's new. So of course, it doesn't sound like a 40 years old synthesizer, because you know, capacitors are going, are old, they're drying up. There's different reason why the hardware doesn't sound the same. The filter is duller than it used to be. The envelope is slower, whatever it is. They don't sound as good as, or not as good, because they might sound better sometimes, but they don't sound the way they originally sounded. And nobody is physically there 40 years before they go, oh, well, it sounds different. But it does. I mean, the mechanical reality of the hardware reality makes it that it's older and it doesn't react, the electricity doesn't react the same way. It's hard to compare and say, well, it sounds the same. And that's why they added the condition, which is you can grow old the algorithm. So it sounds like it's a 40 years old Juno or a new one. So depending on what you want, if you want it to sound or to react slower or differently or duller or whatever it is that this device would do if the component starts to dry up, well, you've got the condition value here, and you have it in the synth also. If you go enter in the menu, one of the options is condition. That's what it is. Enter, and you've got condition. And as you go higher, it's not just like one thing. Is the whole thing reacts a little bit differently. You know, might be the filter is a little bit duller. The resonance might be more just, you know, easier to self-oscillate. Whatever it is, it mimics more of a reaction of a old piece of hardware that has its own sound by itself. Exit that. So now it's here. I can play it. I'm happy. And go, well, if I want to control this, well, now these knobs control exactly what this is on screen. So if I play this, I'm playing with the sub, pulse width. So physically, they're at the same place. I'm going to change this. It's the range. Change this. It's the pitch. How much LFO is sent to the DCO. So how much pitch control I have from the... So that's it. It's just like as easy as you see is that's why you have this feature here when you go option. You want to see, when you have a System 8, you want to see the System 8 layout instead of the original Juno-60. It's the same information. Now this is the original look of what the Juno-60 looked like, mostly. Well, yeah. And when you press on option again, System-8, you get the same information packaged in the way that you have on screen here. So if I press here, I've got that control and I've got this here. I'll do another video just about the Juno-60 and the Juno-106 and all these, because they're great synthesizers. I mean, it's not for nothing that they're classics. They're part of this. I think the Junos and the SH are part of these very powerful, simple synthesizers. So everybody can just use them, and it's going to be hard to make bad sounds. You know, it's so easy to make good sounds with these synthesizers that you go back to them often because it's just easy to just pick one, modify it, and it just sounds good. Now, it's not for every sound, of course. They have their own capacities and textures and sound and you know, advantages, but they're just like really quick and easy to make great sounds with. So that's why the Junos, the whole series is always a very popular one, and the SH also, the 101 being probably the most known, but all the other SH are really easy and quick to use. So I think anybody who wants to, you know, have a quick, good sounding synth, these are kind of an obvious choice. That's it. That's it for today with the System-8. I'll do other videos about the synthesizers, and that's it, man. Make more music, stay safe, see you soon. Cheers.